Stardew Valley, the Harvest Moon-inspired farm simulation game, recently updated to the 1.4 version, which gave extra content to players for free, such as new items, areas, and interactions with people. The game is constantly evolving and has gone through a long list of changes since its release with no additional cost to fans. These kinds of free updates are not seen very often in games that aren't free to start, unlike online games for example. Normally, updates, patches, or new versions of a game are done to either A. make needed fixes, or B. bring in new sales of some kind. There's something in particular that makes Stardew Valley special. Let's take a closer look into how some other games have done things first. Persona is an example of a franchise that will release slightly updated versions of the game, like Golden for Vita or Persona 5 Royal on the PS4. The main appeal to these are new characters and events to experience. Pokemon has taken a similar approach with updated versions of games, like with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So, these new versions are made with the goal in mind that there's enough added content to make even fans who have the old version want to get them. Animal Crossing New Leaf had Welcome Amiibo, which was a free update for the old version of the game, but was also sold by itself with new packaging. Some of the new features included having daily tasks to complete to earn Meow coupons. These could then be used at the new campsite area, where you could also scan amiibos and cards to meet certain animals. This led to selling amiibos, amiibo cards, and the amiibo scanner in order to fully experience the campsite. Having campers could have also been a way to get people ready for the app Pocket Camp. Like I have mentioned previously though, the main appeal to this update is that players were finally able to sit on rocks. The Sims receives frequent patches. 3 and 4 started adding more new content in the patches besides bug fixes, but a lot of this was done in response to complaints about things being missing from the game, like not having pools or babies leaving the bassinet and immediately going to school. We've also gotten some amazing patch notes like, Sims who are on fire will no longer be forced to attend graduation before they can put themselves out. Seriously, if you haven't looked up Sims patch notes on YouTube where people read them out loud, I highly recommend it. Other than that, players have to pay for game packs. So, the trend tends to be to either appease fans by fixing things, make a new copy of the game that players will have to pay for, or have the update connect to something that people will want to buy, like amiibos. Now, let's go back to Stardew Valley. Over the past few years, there have been several free updates which included different types of farms to choose from, multiplayer, new events, and features that made things more convenient. But, you're probably thinking, what Stardew Valley is doing is not all that uncommon for indie games to do, and free updates do lead to additional sales. This is true. Games like Terraria, Starbound, and many others do free updates in hopes that there will be increased interest in their game. With things like new items, new areas, and new characters, it gives an incentive for old players to come back, possibly buying copies for friends, copies on new devices for themselves, or for new people to want to buy the game. Stardew Valley being released on new devices over time, and introducing multiplayer are definitely a part of this. What's interesting too is that there's not that much of an incentive for old players to buy this type of game on another console, outside of having portability, different controls, or the ability to use mods, but many still do. This is in contrast to the Animal Crossing series, where you are generally limited to having one town per copy of the game, so fans will buy additional copies of the portable game to get more towns. Whereas with Stardew Valley, you can have multiple save files, but I'll get back to this later. Increased interest in the game also means that people are more likely to buy merch. There's an increasing number of merch for Stardew Valley. Every year when I go to the Fangamer booth at Tokyo Game Show, there's new merch for it available, so having site interest will help with its sales. What does make Stardew Valley updates unique is what else it is changing. Consistently with the updates, your relationships with existing people change, making more of the NPCs dateable, giving more interactions with them, adding late-game hard events for spouses, their own area on the farm, being able to divorce them and having them react to it, all makes your relationships deeper and more realistic. I know from playing Animal Crossing that if characters keep giving you the same dialogue or keep repeating the same actions, it takes away from your immersion. Adding in new appealing characters is a common strategy to bring an interest in an updated version of the game, but this is different. People who don't already own the game won't care if there's a bit of additional dialogue or if there's more endgame interactions with them. It's really for the people who already are attached to these characters and want them to feel more real and experience new things with their big city goth boyfriend. I wouldn't say that this would particularly get people to buy copies for their friends or to buy it on a new console either, since it mostly affects established relationships. And most merch for the game doesn't feature these NPCs. Sure, some games like Persona add onto the content they experience with old characters, but doesn't really deepen your attachment to them in the way that Stardew Valley does. For me personally, I started playing before the 1.1 update, and it got into the max 10 hearts with everyone available for dating. I was originally interested in Shane until I found out that he wasn't dateable at that time. I took a break before the 1.1 update since I had gotten married and had a kid, a fair amount of achievements, etc. But when I heard about the new updates, I was interested in part because I wanted to see what new experiences I could have with my little family. And I'm sure that when the next update eventually comes out, there will be even more changes to late game relationships, and I'll make my return once again. Maybe at some point I'll start a new farm and give some extra beer to my old buddy Shane. I do think part of this is ConcernedApe's personal connection to the game. Since it's his own project, he wants to in part have the game reach its full potential and build on the world instead of just moving on to a new version of the game entirely. When talking about the update, he said, "One of my main goals with 1.4 was to finally polish the game to the degree that I've always wanted. What I mean by that is that I wanted to fix all the bugs that have been lingering in the game, to fix a lot of weird or annoying things about the controls and feel of the game, and add in a lot of quality of life features that will make the game more seamless to play. I feel pretty confident that this goal has been met." There was already a large fan base that was happy with how the game controlled, but he knew that things could be better for people, and put in that extra care and effort. Of course, expanding on NPCs probably does lead to additional profits in some ways, but I do think that this is in part a way for him to thank the players by letting them feel for a little bit longer that they have a special connection to the characters. ConcernedApe's dedication in this way does pay back because it makes some fans feel like they want to do what they can to support him. Besides convenience, this was one of the main reasons I heard for people buying multiple copies of the game. Based on the increased interest in games that provide free updates, I hope that this will send a message to game creators that this is a valid strategy for increasing a game's revenue and that more games will go down this route. Also more game shit heads sitting on rocks. That's the end of this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on game updates in the comments below. I always like hearing other people's perspectives. And if you liked the video, feel free to give a like or subscribe to me for more video game content. You can also find me on other platforms like Twitter and Tumblr. See you next time!